So another question I get asked on a pretty regular basis is, what is the red-green spectrum? Now, some people who are teaching about needs sometimes position some needs as being maybe better or less favorable than each other. They kind of position them that if you have some higher than the others, your life will be happy, more pleasurable, less painful. Now, in my experience from working with needs for a long time now, the only way, the reason that certain needs are at the top of and like the highest priorities, because they're not being very effectively met. The way to actually have them drop down and others bubble up to the top is to meet them in really healthy, fulfilling ways. And this is the key. Now, a lot of people talk about, obviously, I've spoken already about the needs tree. Now, the needs tree sits in the middle of this spectrum. Red at one end of the spectrum, green at the other end of the spectrum. And the way that we choose to meet our needs sits somewhere between the red end and the green end. Now, the red end of the spectrum are the ways of meeting our needs, which are less healthy, less empowering, less fulfilling. And the green end of the spectrum is the end of the spectrum, which is more healthy, more empowering, more fulfilling. Now, unfortunately, our culture tends to teach us to meet our needs at the red end of the spectrum. So most people, when they come to do needs work, have a lot of their needs that are being met at the red end of the spectrum. And if when needs are being met at the red end of the spectrum, sometimes, often they're not being met very well. Like, we feel that there's still more that needs to be done. And sometimes, even though you can be doing a lot to try and meet the need at the red end of the spectrum, it's actually feeling like nothing is being done to meet the need at all. So the way I describe these two ends of the spectrum is the red end of the spectrum is like the TV dinner way of meeting our needs. So that is the way that will stop you being hungry, but in an hour or so, you're probably going to need something more to eat because it hasn't provided you with any nourishment. And so you can do things to meet your needs over here, but they're not going to really nourish your need. At the other end of the spectrum, this is the home-cooked, whole food, nutritionally balanced way of meeting our needs, where not only does it satiate the hunger and stop you from being hungry, it actually nourishes the body as well. So at the red end of the spectrum, you can be doing this amount of stuff to meet all of your needs, but it can be having this amount of effect. At the green end of the spectrum, you can do this amount to meet your needs, and it can be having this amount of impact. So one of the things that's really important when we're learning about our needs is not just about the needs themselves, but about how we can ensure that the ways that we choose to meet our needs are healthy, fulfilling, and more effective. So one of the things that we will talk about in the needs program is we will talk about the things that affect the red and green spectrum. And depending on the level of the program that you're going through will depend on how many aspects of the red green spectrum we're taking into consideration. If you're level 1, we're just going to look at one aspect. We're going to keep it nice and simple. If you're level 2, we're going to go a little deeper. We're going to add a second one in. And if you're level 3, we're going to add in not only a third level, but one that is such a game changer for most people to understand. This one I find has a massive impact on people's lives in every area, not just relating to meeting their needs. So that, my friends, is the red-green spectrum.